Yo ho, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. This is coming out a little later than I planned to. Usually I do these a little bit in advance, but it's been a busy weekend, and I literally only got to do this today, and well after the time I usually have them already posted, and then I stopped to have a phone call, well, a video chat with my mom, and then continued the rest of the movie until just now. I just finished it now, and it's going to be loaded up in a few minutes after I finish talking. And yeah, none of this makes any difference to you watching it, 6 years later, but still, just letting you know. The lighting all right? I did this in a hurry. This is from 2007. It's 2 hours and 50 minutes. That's why it just really didn't fit into my schedule. Look at my cute pin. So yeah, there's a lot going on in this film, and it's hard to fit just 3 hours into just any day of just sitting and watching a movie, unless you go to the movies. And I saw this movie when it was in the theaters. When I saw the title here, I for some reason yesterday thought that it was the final one in the series, and I'm completely wrong. It is the third one out of 5. Don't let anybody tell you there's 6. There is like a fake video, like trailer video out there that's totally done in AI and BS and all sorts of other acronyms. Don't be fooled by those people who create those fake trailers. It's just awful. When the moment I saw the thumbnail, I'm like, yeah, that's fake. This is Margot Robbie and Johnny Depp. No, just stop. Don't support those people. Block them. Just delete. We don't need that crap. So anyway, this is about this film. This film it's the end of a trilogy in a sense, even though there's a lot of seeds laid at the end of this film for the 4th film. Without spoiling too much, but again, this movie is somehow 17 years old. That's more time between Return of the Jedi and Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Yeah, I don't know. It's just... So we get... but this is sort of the Return of the Jedi of the Pirates series. We get sort of a bit of a closure to the Will and Elizabeth... I don't know why I'm going to call her Emma, Keira Knightley and Orlando Bloom. We get a kind of a closure to their part in the Pirates of the Caribbean saga, because I don't think they were contracted to do any more, and I think they may have wanted to move on to do other stuff. And Johnny Depp kind of, even though, Johnny Depp has always been a big star for many years, even though his character was technically the supporting character in the first film, while they were the main characters, the romance, the action, we were meant to be invested in them primarily, and Jack was the comic relief and all the swashbuckling and everything else. He kind of stole the film. One, just because Jack Sparrow is an eccentric weirdo. It's a guy that hopefully weirdo in a good way, not that other way that we've been hearing about recently. This is what we get here is we don't even get Jack Sparrow in this movie until about 30 minutes in. We get to see Elizabeth, and we get to see Will kind of at odds, strangely enough, and it's a very roundabout way to try to rescue Jack from his fate in the last film. The fate of he fell in with Davy Jones. Davy Jones, played by Bill Nighy, in complete CGI getup. You can see his eyes, you can hear his voice, but beyond that, he's just a tentacle monster, and it's pretty fantastic. Yeah, I don't know if those effects will age well down the line, but they still look good. There's sometimes where it's just not perfect, but you know what? Hey, we're always evolving in our understanding and enjoyment and the creation of these digital effects. Even so, it is him and the characters and creatures of his crew is some of the most beautiful and grotesque creature making I've ever seen in films. They're just each one individual. They're fantastic looking. The art designers who came up with the concept and looks of all of them, each and every one of them, the details that go into them, whether practical or digital, it's just fantastic. I think I've seen these creatures up close in the past, like at Disney and things like that, and different events and stuff. And it's just fantastic just seeing more of these guys in this film. Honestly, I don't know how many years it was since the last one, but they were cranking them out for a good while. This is, for the 3 hours you get, almost the whole last hour, if you take out the credits, if you take out some tender moments, you get it feels like 45 straight minutes of just non-stop action. And then, not discounting the rest of the action throughout the rest of the film, it is betrayal, betrayal, betrayal. There's people turning against each other every which way. You never know which way it's going to turn. You kind of know, but it's still the idea that it's double, triple agent kind of situations. And of course, Jack's usually always out for himself. He's grown a little bit. He is definitely protective of Elizabeth Swann, and sometimes at butting heads with Will, even though they both want to protect Elizabeth. And Elizabeth, she's like, I don't need protecting. She can handle herself in just about any situation. And Keira Knightley comes through in that sense of just sort of kicking butt and not being just the damsel in distress. We do technically have our Luke, Leia, and Han Solo, except in this case, Luke and Leia are not brother and sister, and they end up as the couple. Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow is Han Solo, just the eccentric pirate, as we know. That's what Han Solo was. He was a pirate. And this is one of those things where, if you look historically, everything else, you don't want to go down too many rabbit holes with pirate history, because they never look good. They're not the heroes in just about any story. But in this case, you know what? We can suspend disbelief. It's based on a theme park ride. Yeah. Who knew we'd get 5 films so far out of a theme park ride that are actually good? Some of them waver here and there just a little bit, but consistently average overall. It's astounding that we've gotten so much good, crazy fun out of it. It's Jerry Bruckheimer and Gore Verbinski directing, Jerry Bruckheimer production kind of thing. So it's always going to be like hyped up, over the top, crazy action. It's going to be all sorts of just stuff you probably haven't seen before. ILM doing the effects along with other effects houses, but ILM pretty much handling the main thing. And between the acting, the dialogue, and everything else, you can find all sorts of, everybody can find a reason to poo-poo over certain movies from certain ways, but I wanted to put this on in the background while I did other things. Honestly, after I finished with my call, I just sat back and I had to watch that last hour just focused, because it drew my attention from anything else I could possibly be doing. It is fun. I saw things. Honestly, I don't know if I've seen this film since it came out in 2007. Yes, again, 17 years. It's been 7 years. 17 and 7? Yeah, 7 years since the last film in the series. So, we get great cast, we get great effects, we get great action. If your buckle isn't swashed by the end of this, I don't know what you're watching. I don't know what you expected from this. It's the reason why I think I sort of missed this, or it's just sort of, I forgot so much of this film. I almost thought for a second that it was part of the 3D era, where everything was just in your face constantly, and that it's sort of storytelling and action sort of got pushed aside just for the effect. Look at the effect. But this was made before Avatar came out in 2009, which really pushed that whole 3D era. that has since died down, even though you can still see movies in 3D these days in most theaters. Usually like Despicable Me 4 and Inside Out 2 and all these other digital films, they just don't bother upscaling it, the other films, for the 3D format most of the time. I think Deadpool and Wolverine was 3D in some screens. I don't know. It's a gimmick that has run its course for now, until they find another way to make it cool. But in 2007, that wasn't even on the horizon just yet. And we get just big, crazy action. And it's just... there's so much I can talk about this. Beyond our main cast, we get Jeffrey Rush returning as villain and hero, anti-hero in this. Jeffrey Rush is just fantastic in this. Chow Yun-fat makes an appearance in this as another pirate leader. Of course, I mentioned Bill Nighy as Davy Jones. We get Bill Skarsgård playing the father of Will. Yeah, and this is one of those things where one of those films that you can praise all the top level main things, but it's one of the rare films where you have a supporting cast as well that is just as enjoyable to watch. They're not just a diversion or a funny little joke here and there. And they do a little funny little joke. They're an aside. They kind of break up the action every so often, but they have a decent collective of supporting characters that you care about, that you root for. And it's the goofy what do you say, Mackenzie Crook, and Mr. Gibbs is Kevin McNally, and there's just so many, Lee Ehrenberg. It's just a good batch of guys where you could just watch a movie just with them. I think they might have made shorts at some point featuring just these guys. I don't remember. But you know what? No, they couldn't lead a Pirates of the Caribbean movie with just those guys. No, it would be fun, I think. Not 2.5, 3 hours worth of fun. You're going to need the big names. You're going to need Johnny Depp. You're going to need Will and Elizabeth, or somebody of those equivalents. Again, like I was telling you about the fake trailers that are out there. For a time, I think Margot Robbie was looking to become sort of a reboot character, meant to be kind of like she was Harley Quinn kind of thing, just as surly and unpredictable as a Jack Sparrow, just in case they weren't going to get Johnny Depp back at some point. They knew she could handle that. And, it's entirely possible it could happen again. So, but for now, I think she's got other stuff. Academy Award winning Margot Robbie. So, it costs a lot, I think, to get her to join something like this. But hey, never say never. Disney didn't say anything at D23 Expo about a new Pirates of the Caribbean movie, so it ain't happening for a while, if it's happening at all. But yeah, we get there's so many people in this cast. It's so amazing. I love the fact that some of these guys' IMDb page pictures are just them in their creature costumes from this movie. It's kind of funny. So, should you be watching this? Yeah, absolutely. It's good for all ages. It's a little intense for little ones, I think. I know some friends who have introduced their little ones to some of these movies, at least parts of these movies, in small doses, not 3 hours worth, but it's good pirate adventure. I mean, who would have thought in the modern day, when we're all doing sci-fi and superheroes and everything else, oh gosh, this came out in the year before Iron Man. Wow, before the MCU really started taking off. But yeah, in this era of superheroes and sci-fi and big action kind of real world type of things, that we could make a theme park inspired movie, scale it up to the degree, of course, Jerry Bruckheimer's going to do that, to a degree that it doesn't get boring or overly historical or completely inaccurate. Yes, it's not. This is not historic. It takes elements of history. It's not history, but it makes it actually fun. It's not too serious. Every scene, pretty much with Jack in it, is a comedic bit. It's silly. It's absolutely silly, and it's meant to be. Even the life or death battle with Davy Jones, sword fight, everything else, it's still silly at times. There's rare moments when Jack kind of settles down and takes something a little bit serious, and you know that moment. There's a weight to it. There's a gravitas to that moment when Jack suddenly just calms down and isn't thinking just of himself. Usually it doesn't last too long, but it's still, it's not like he goes out of character. But you know there's more depth to him than just being a weird clown. Pie of the seas. So, but that's his charm, and that's what Johnny Depp embodies. I've seen the man show up in person at D23 Expo a number of years ago on stage as Captain Jack, and they had to literally talk him off the stage because he kept being Jack. And it was a backstage photo of him with Harrison Ford, and Harrison just looking at him like, "What are you doing, man? You're an actor. You're not the character." Just this look on Harrison's face is just funny. And his appearances he would often make at Disneyland on the ride as Jack and waving to the crowds out in the balcony is just fantastic. Just shows how invested in the character he was, rather than just, oh, it's a job, I think I'll put the costume away, boom. He would show up at children's hospitals doing that kind of stuff. He used to be out not too far from here, a little bit of a distance. They used to dock the Black Pearl at Redondo Beach Pier, and when they would dock, and after doing shots on the ship, he'd come out, and there'd be people waiting. He'd just start signing autographs to anybody who wanted them, free. It's kind of neat. It's kind of cool. So yeah, it was in costume, by the way, in costume. I missed that era, but it's kind of great that it was shooting at a time when I was living here. I just didn't know about it until after it was done. So, but yeah, there's a lot of shots that actually were shot here in California along the coastline, not just in the Caribbean or whatever. So yeah, I highly recommend going back and watching all these films. Maybe not back to back, maybe break them up by a couple a day or so, and every other day, once a week or something like that. And in the course of a month or so, you'll get to see all of them and get to see a pretty fantastic arc. You can judge for yourself which one's better or worse. It doesn't matter. Have a good time. That's what these movies are made for, literally to have a good time. Yeah, why are movies made? Entertainment. So I think that's obvious. While I was watching this, there was so many things like my brain wanted to call out. Don't forget that there is a sequence after the credits. This is before Iron Man 2. There's a sequence at the end of the credits that kind of helps wrap up a certain storyline. Of course, we know there's more to that storyline once we get to the last film, I think. But yeah, I think you'll get a kick out of that little moment at the very, very end. Yeah, I'm going to kick myself for not remembering all the little details that I wanted to bring up, but I think I've talked enough about this. I think I don't need too much convincing. Most people don't need too much convincing to see this movie. Either they have no interest in pirate adventures with Johnny Depp, or they're totally into it. And by the way, Keira Knightley, no matter how crazy, roughed up, and action, happening all around her, she still looks pristine in every shot. That's the most unbelievable effect, I think, in this. Like she's CGI or something. I don't know, but she looks just fantastic, regardless of whatever trial she's been through minutes before. This does have probably the most exciting and thrilling, action-oriented nuptials ever in a film. I'm pretty safe in saying that. Yeah, the Fantastic Four had a wedding in the comics, and all sorts of craziness happened back in that first annual, I think. I don't know, but it was Yeah, all sorts of stuff happened, but that's nothing. I mean, that's two different genres. That's two different mediums. This has one of the most fun, exciting nuptials you'll see in a film, guaranteed. I mean, you're not getting money back from me, I'm just saying. So let's pick tomorrow's episode. 190. Did we just... Okay, we were just 168. 190. Okay. We got a short, but it's not too short. I think it's one of those special. It's one of those specials featuring some animated characters that we really like. I really like. They're fantastic. Featuring Cricket and Tilly. This is Shorts Giving with Big City Greens. So yeah, it's going to be a Thanksgiving theme thing. I get to wear a different hat. Yeah, I have the hat. I do have the hat. It's right within reach. So tomorrow, Shorts Giving on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.